Hello everyone, welcome to my second video about cryptocurrency. Today I'm going to give my 2019 predictions for Bitcoin, where it is now and where I see it going in 2019. And again, before we start, everything going to talk about is my opinion. It's not financial advice. Please do your own research before making any decisions financially. Okay, so let's get started. So, where are we sitting today? £3,237, which in dollars is just over $4,000. I think there's a break point at $4,200. We were at that yesterday and this morning, and we've just slid down a little bit. We've gone up nearly 7-8 billion over the last couple of days. I think at the peak it was about 10 billion. It was sitting at 115 billion pounds, or if I just put this into dollars, we're sitting around 46 billion. So still going up nicely. So what's going to make this price increase further? So firstly, obviously we've got to talk about Bakkt. So Bakkt in 2019, the date slated is 24th of Jan, but as you can see from the first article, we're thinking it could be delayed. Now this is purely down to a couple of things. One is the CFTC approval, and secondly, unfortunately, is the government shutdown in America at the moment. So there's the issue in America with the funding for the Mexico wall. Trump wants $5 billion, and the government do not want to pay out. So he decided to shut the government down. And most areas of the government are going to be affected, and obviously this means the CFTC will also potentially be affected. But now, obviously, the article goes on to talk about the fact that it's not actually going to be, may not be many days or weeks. It may not be weeks or months. It's probably just going to be days. So I think the idea is that the inside scoop is that it's likely going to be approved by the CFTC, but it may not be the 24th. So we have to see if the government does fully shut down, and also if the CFTC does shut down. I think once approval is made, it won't take too long to get them underway for the ICE exchange. So why would this matter? What's going to happen? So the way I see it happening is, or panning out is, let's say it's the 24th or the 30th of January. Hopefully the ICE exchange has already got a number of clients already lined up. They've got the desk ready. All the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. And also the amount of Bitcoin that the ICE have been buying up should hopefully be a substantial amount that they can trade with. The best thing about this, unlike the last year's CME futures exchange, it's going to be settled in Bitcoin. It's not going to be settled in fiat or dollars as it was before. There was a big hype last year in October when everybody was really excited with the launch of CME exchange. CME futures, and you could see, in October last year the price was certainly pumping up, but obviously we discovered that the price was to be settled in fiat. So it was just paper transactions. Nobody was really buying any Bitcoin, which was kind of frustrating. But with this, we've been told it's going to be settlement in Bitcoin. So I hope to see the liquidity in Bitcoin to increase. At the moment, we're sitting at what? Liquidity is around $7 billion. Now, if you compare that to probably this time last year, I mean, it's going to be a massive difference between the liquidity around September 2017. So if you just skip to 2017, what was the liquidity? So yeah, certainly a lot more than it was once before. Let's look at just the end of 2017. Yeah, at the peak, could find the numbers there, was around 13 billion. I mean, we're almost half that at the moment. So, and obviously, as you can see from the price, we were sitting at 19,000. So, you know, an absolute massive peak. I mean, even here, it's gone up further to 23 billion. So we're roughly three times, which is a lot, down on its 24-hour volume. But we're getting there slowly. You know, Bitcoin dominance is what, 50%. It's come down about 4% than it was a few days ago. So people obviously pushing money into the altcoins. What else is happening? So Fidelity have got their institute starting hopefully next year, with hopefully Bitcoin and Ethereum. Sorry, what happened there? So, you know, the main thing to recognise here is hodling has worked for anybody, people who've held onto their coin. I should not say the word hodl. I'm sick of it. So, you know, the key point here is investors, you know, institutional investors with billions or millions and millions of money under their belt, if not trillions, have been buying up. We're not seeing on Coin Market Cap, you're not going to see in Coin Paprika either, because it's OTC. What is OTC? OTC is over-the-counter trading. It's literally not going through the exchange. It's just going to Coinbase and buying $100 million worth of Bitcoin, which is not going to hit the exchange. So you're not going to see a buy on Bitcoin, which is disappointing, because obviously this price would be, you know, would reflect in this price, and we would see this, you know, certainly not at $4,000, certainly not at $3,100. So, you know, investors are buying it up. People like Tim Draper, who is obviously a big Bitcoin advocate or a whale, has constantly this year talked about how much he thinks Bitcoin is going to go up. I mean, they've obviously given their own predictions. I'm going to give my prediction from everything we've looked at, and then obviously you get people on the other side about Bitcoin's going to zero, Bitcoin's, you know, going to be worth whatever. You know, nothing is going to go down, in my opinion. And the reason why is because of the investors. Nobody invests in a product which is going down. Why are all the investors, you've got to ask yourself that question, why are the investors like Fidelity, like New York Stock Exchange, like ICE, like Goldman Sachs, and probably many other banks who are buying up Bitcoin, and hedge funds and investment banks, why are they buying Bitcoin when it's been going down? This year has been, you know, in the Bitcoin world or the cryptocurrency world, are trying to make money, and a lot of us are here for that. It's been terrible. I mean, if you've been buying when it's been low, fantastic, and you've made money, but a lot of people are still holding from last year, and potentially people who have bought at $20,000 or £16,000 have made a lot of loss. You know, it's sitting at $4,000 or around £3,200. So, you know, if you bought 10 Bitcoin last year at $20,000, $200,000, and we're sitting at 4, you know, your loss of it is $160,000. But again, why are the investors buying it up? And they see a future, just like I see a future in Bitcoin. You know, we want it to be the digital gold. People are not going to be hoarding lots of gold. Majority of us do not have vaults. I certainly do not have a vault where I can just store, you know, thousands and thousands of dollars of gold and it to be safe. What I can do is have thousands and thousands of dollars of Bitcoin or XRP or Ethereum on a ledger or on an exchange, and for it to be, you know, minimal space. So the idea is, you know, we want Bitcoin to be digital gold with the Lightning Network to, you know, process small transactions. It can be, you know, it can be both. You know, if Backed are at the moment, you know, signing up with Starbucks and Microsoft, the idea is we're going to do transactions through those sort of companies. And, obviously, can you imagine buying a cup of coffee or a latte for, what is it, £2.50 in the UK and maybe $2 or $3 in America with Bitcoin? Tim Draper's also mentioned, it may be in jest, maybe it's got some basis behind it about, going to Amazon, using Bitcoin on Amazon, and maybe going to buy a Tesla with your Bitcoin. So these are all possibilities. I mean, Tim Draper originally mentioned buying a coffee from Starbucks months and months ago. If I find the actual article, I'll put it in the link in the description below, about what he said. And maybe he knew. Maybe there was inklings months ago. I mean, these guys, Fidelity, ICE, New York Stock Exchange, I haven't just yesterday or last week or last month decided they're going to open up a crypto exchange or a desk or futures exchange. They've been looking at this for years and years. If you look at the research behind ICE, I believe it's the wife of the chairman or the president of the New York Stock Exchange who's opened up, backed. It's her project. She's been working on it for 3 years, and 3 years you're talking about 2015, or maybe end of 2014, that they've been looking at Bitcoin, looking at this project, probably been buying it up on the side as well. Again, they don't need to advertise this. They can, in the background, talk negatively about Bitcoin so the price goes down, so they can keep buying up, but secretly buying up Bitcoin. So obviously, you've got the idea of digital gold, you've got a form of currency, and obviously with, hopefully, Lightning Network, we'll have a supported network which can handle thousands, hundreds of thousands of transactions per second. We don't want to go into what happened last year where, I was trying to send Bitcoin from my desktop wallet to my ledger, and it took hours. I mean, I was worried. First time I did it, I was thinking, is my money gone? I kept checking, the Bitcoin Explorer for the exchange tracking, and it was there. It just took a long while. It cost me, around $40, $50 for a transaction, and that's not going to work, and that needs to come down. Lightning Network will help with that. And certainly when you're making transactions to in Starbucks or Amazon, or buying a Tesla, or going to Microsoft, or whatever it may be, you're not going to make a transaction for it to take hours or days for it to come on the other end. It's just not going to work. The infrastructure, and it's not going to be, it's just going to be pathetic, and also it's not a scalable solution. So Lightning Network is coming. I read somewhere or heard somewhere from some other good YouTubers, Lightning Network adoption has gone up 1,600%. We only hope that's going to go up more. And I certainly look to set up my own Lightning Network or Lightning node. I've seen some on the web for about $300. So certainly looking at that. So where do I see Bitcoin going? The most important thing. So where are we at? We're at $4,000. After, it's really we're pinning our hopes on this on the back. I don't want to talk too much about EFT in America. I'm sure other countries are going to do it. The SEC is going to make a decision in February 2019. I think it's been 4 years of constant referrals and rejections. I don't know whether they're just waiting for the big institutes to say give the go ahead when they've bought enough, or there's legitimate reasons. I think the main issue is about custody and security for investors, about what happens if they lose their money and being hacked. And that's a very important point. I mean, we saw what happened in Mt. Gox in 2013, and on that side, they have the investors backing or support, but there are other countries who are going to do the same things, and then the US will be left behind. I know Sweden is doing EFT, so exchange traded product. I say we are like I'm an American. The American government need to get things together. If they don't do it, then other countries will. Smaller countries which can make a big name for themselves, like Malta, who has been very crypto friendly, Japan, South Korea, even countries like Germany and UK and the ones who are good leaders in finance can propel themselves if they start offering these services. So let's not wait on EFT. Let's just wait on Bakkt and Fidelity. So once Bakkt launches, I'm hoping and I believe, in my opinion, that the price will shoot. Depending on how much that shoot will be, with 4,000, if we can get to maybe 5,500 by mid-Jan with all the anticipation, and obviously as long as Bakkt isn't delayed more than maybe a couple of days or a week or something, then by June 2019, I can see maybe a $30,000 Bitcoin. And then obviously we're hoping by most of the big institutes are saying first half or first quarter 2019 they're going to launch their products. So I know that a lot of other companies, Goldman Sachs have mentioned this, and Fidelity, and you've got a lot of other institutes which are talking about launching their products into 2019. Now, obviously, we hope it's not going to be delayed by unseen, unexpected circumstances like a massive market crash, and that's really the only thing that's going to hold cryptocurrency back. Now, obviously, if there's a massive crash worse than 2008, then unlikely people are going to throw their money to Bitcoin or cryptocurrency. They're going to probably throw their money into bonds or gold. And obviously gold is historically the store of value, and obviously we want Bitcoin to replace that. Some investors may jump into Bitcoin, but I feel gold will be the place that everyone throws their money into like it was in 2008. So majority will probably throw their money into Bitcoin, gold. So putting that to one side of no market crash next year and no manipulation of the market, from June onwards, we hope to see a constant bull run all year with slight corrections. And by 2019, I'm looking at around $90,000 to $150,000 Bitcoin. If you looked at it as on the basis that we have $100,000 Bitcoin, that's really, if you think about it, on a 17 million supply, that's a $1.7 trillion market cap. Now that sounds massive when the market cap is a 71 billion, but realistically, if you think about it, how much is the economy worth globally? I think it's around 80 trillion. Some people say way more, some people say less. I've read it on numerous websites about $80 trillion. Now, let's just say the whole market, cryptocurrency market, by end of 2019 is worth about $2 or $3 trillion. Let's say $2.5 trillion, and 1.5, 1.6, 1.7 trillion of that is Bitcoin. So, I expect dominance to, if it was going to stay on that, we would need roughly around a $3 trillion market cap for cryptocurrency, with a $1.5 trillion Bitcoin market cap. So you're looking roughly around, your 80, 90, $100,000 Bitcoin. And that's not impossible. It's certainly not impossible. If you think about last year, our market cap for cryptocurrency, I think, peaked around $800 billion. And I think Bitcoin was around 350 or 300 to $400 billion itself. So you're looking at it going up, 5 times? And really, in cryptocurrency, that's not much. It really isn't. It's going from $20,000 where it was last year on a $300 to $400 billion market cap to a 1.5 or $1.7 trillion. So roughly 4 or 5 times its highest point in 2016. And 2017 was a year where we didn't have institutions invested. We didn't have Fidelity talking about Bitcoin, Goldman Sachs talking about Bitcoin. They were, but negatively. It was always negative. Goldman Sachs was calling it fraud. You had people like, Warren Buffett coming on calling it fraud. You had Bill Gates coming on calling it fraud. Everybody was calling it fraud, but it reached $20,000. Obviously, a lot of that was hype, and obviously hype will continue. You can't stop people FOMOing into the market. It's always going to happen, whether it's when they launched Facebook IPO, people FOMOed into that market, or Alibaba's IPO in America. People always FOMO, and if they see the price going up, people will throw the money into them, especially people not in the know, who will be buying at $20,000, where at the moment it's sitting at $4,000. Imagine buying at $20,000 when you could have bought 5 Bitcoin right now. So yeah, that's my prediction for 2019, around anything from $90,000 to $150,000. I do not look to be set. That's kind of came wrong. I won't be selling my Bitcoin anytime soon. The idea is to hodl, and we'll see where we are in 2020. So that's my video. What do you guys think? Give some comments. Please like and subscribe. And I think for my next video, I'll be doing something similar on XRP. So please look out for that. Okay. Thanks all. Goodbye.